Well, the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft is in, so the lying is over. Well, at least they won't be lying about the first round anymore. There's still a couple of days left in this thing. But at number 7 overall, Las Vegas Raiders GM Dave Ziegler spent his first round pick on Texas Tech edge rusher Tyree Wilson. As most of you know, I mocked Oregon corner Christian Gonzalez to the Raiders. I didn't believe for a second that Wilson would still be there. What's crazy to me is the fact that Wilson and Georgia interior defensive lineman Jalen Carter were both on the board when the Raiders picked. I said in the last video, it's hard to guess what Ziegler would do because we don't really know him, but we know him a lot more now. That pick tells us a lot. It tells us he doesn't care who you are, who picked you, or how big your contract is. He's going to look to replace you if you don't play on the level you're supposed to play on. He didn't turn down running back Josh Jacobs' fifth-year option, signed 2 free agent running backs, and draft 2 running backs just because he's Gruden's guy after all. Chandler Jones is his guy that he brought in on a big contract, but since Jones didn't play on a high level the whole year last year, Ziegler drafted Wilson to replace him. How long it takes to do that depends on Jones. I really thought Ziegler would give Jones a shot to redeem himself, especially since Carter was still on the board. I mean, that big contract still has $17 million guaranteed on it, and you're not going to pay a guy that much money to be a backup, are you? Well, none of that had any bearing on Ziegler's decision to draft Wilson. Think about that for a minute. No one would have criticized Ziegler for picking Carter. If anything, the opposite would have happened, but he stuck to his board. That tells us every decision is going to be a football decision. It won't be based on money. Ziegler's pick also tells us he has an edge rusher prototype, and it's Chandler Jones. He was in New England when the Patriots drafted him, and Wilson is darn near a clone of him. He's 6'6", 270 pounds, and has a little over 35.5-inch long arms. He's also explosive and relentless. Ziegler loves to have those tall, long guys coming off the edge, and Jones can help teach Wilson how to use that height and length. Wilson doesn't have the toolbox he needs to dominate in the NFL yet. Jones is a master of the one-arm stab or long arm and has used it to walk many an offensive lineman back to the quarterback to sack him. Wilson has made the long arm work a few times, but you could tell he hasn't mastered it yet. Mastering that, the push-pull move Jones also uses, and nothing else would net him 15 sacks a year because he already has an unbelievable bull rush. It's already better than Jones's. Wilson is physically dominant. He's fast too. That's why he's a potential game wrecker. He's the Anthony Richardson of edge rushers. Most of the time when you hear a GM is looking for the best player available, it's a lie and he picks for need. I'm starting to believe Ziegler means it though. He had Jacobs as a returning starter last year, signed Brandon Bolden, Amir Abdullah in free agency, and drafted Zamir White in the 4th round. You pretty much have the running back position covered when you have all that, right? Well, Ziegler had all that when he drafted Britton Brown in round 7 last year. He told the media that he made that pick because Brown was the best player available, and I believe him because the last thing he needed at that time was another running back. Fast forward to the present time, and we didn't see Ziegler reach for a quarterback or anything. Wilson was right there with Carter and Anderson for best prospect in this draft, and there were some draft experts that had him as that dude. If we're talking need, the Raiders need an interior defensive lineman more than an edge rusher, right? And Carter was right there, so that tells you what Ziegler thought of Wilson. I can't help but wonder if the off-the-field knocked Carter down a few pegs, though. We went into this draft not knowing what GM Dave Ziegler would do because we don't know him, and this is the first round pick he's had. But the pick he made told us a lot about him. We learned money has nothing to do with his decisions. No matter how much you're getting paid, if you're not doing the job, you will get replaced. We also learned with all his height and length that Jones is his prototypical edge rusher. He's clearly trying to recapture what he had in Jones in New England with Wilson in Las Vegas. And when it comes to drafting the best player available, you can tell he really means it. I'm actually starting to like Ziegler. Thank you for watching. See you next time.